In any complex project, having a brilliant plan, well, that's just the starting line. The real challenge, what really separates the good project managers from the great ones, is navigating the actual journey. And that's why today, we're diving deep into the discipline of monitoring risks. Think of it as your project's radar, its GPS, and its early warning system, all rolled into one. And this quote, it really gets right to the heart of it. This whole process isn't about creating paperwork that just sits on a shelf. Nope. It's about generating a live stream of intelligence so that leadership can make smarter decisions when it actually counts. It's about taking that fog of uncertainty and turning it into a landscape of strategic opportunities you can actually use.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. We've got a 6-part framework. We'll start with the why, the big picture, then we'll hit the what, the inputs that fuel this engine. After that, the how, the tools of the trade, then the so what, the actual decisions it produces. We'll even see how it fits in different environments, and then we'll wrap it all up with one powerful final takeaway. Let's get into it. I want you to picture the project manager not just as a ship's captain, but as a vigilant navigator. See, the captain might set the course at the beginning, but the navigator, they're the one who's constantly scanning the horizon, checking the instruments, reading the signs. They don't just look at the map once, they are living by it, and they're updating it in real time. That, right there, is the essence of monitoring risks. So here's the formal definition, but let's be real, that's a mouthful. Let's translate that from project speak into what we actually do. First, monitoring implementation. That's all about accountability. Did we actually do the thing we said we'd do about a risk, and is it working? Second, tracking identified risks. That's our watch list. We're keeping our eyes on the known threats. Third, identifying new risks. This is the navigator spotting new storm clouds on the horizon. And finally, evaluating effectiveness. This is the part people forget. It's where we ask, is our whole approach to risk even working? This isn't just a phase. It's a constant, vigilant cycle.
And this is such a crucial shift in mindset. This process isn't about micromanagement. It's a strategic governance function. The whole point is to force leadership to pause, step back from the daily grind, and answer some really honest, high-level questions, starting with whether our basic assumptions are even right anymore. It makes us ask, are those risk responses we put in place actually working, or was that just a checkbox exercise? Has our whole risk profile changed because of something in the market? Are our core assumptions about the tech, the customers, our own team still true? And that leads to the ultimate question. Given everything we know right now, is our project's core strategy still the right one? This is what keeps a project both honest and agile.
So, if we're going to be this vigilant navigator, what kind of intelligence do we need? I mean, you can't navigate in the dark. The process is fueled by a constant flow of information, and we can break it down into 3 clean categories: the plan, the project's history, and its real-time performance.
First up, our navigator needs the rulebook and the map. This is our foundation, our guidance system, the project management plan.
And most importantly, we're talking about the risk management plan. You should think of this as the project's rules of engagement for dealing with uncertainty. It makes sure everyone, from the team on the ground to the steering committee, is on the same page. It's the constitution that prevents total chaos when a crisis hits. Next, our navigator needs the ship's logs. The living documents that tell the story of our journey so far.
Okay, the big one here is the risk register. That's the detailed, line-by-line list of every single risk. But leadership doesn't want a giant spreadsheet. They need the risk report, which boils all that detail down to the big picture. Then you've got the issue log. This is so important because today's issues often become tomorrow's risks. And finally, the lessons learned register, our institutional memory, so we don't make the same mistakes twice.
And finally, our navigator needs real-time readings from the instruments. They need to know what's happening right now.
And listen, this distinction is absolutely critical. Work performance data is just the raw numbers, the facts. We have 10 defects. Okay, so what? Facts without context are noise. Work performance reports give you that context. They answer the so what question. We have 10 defects, which is 50% over our limit and will cause a 2-week delay. See? One is data, the other is intelligence. Our navigator needs intelligence.
All right, so our navigator's armed with the plan, the project's history, and live intelligence. Now what? What tools do they actually use to put all this together and spot trouble before it hits?
First up is technical performance analysis. Now, this isn't just about being on time or on budget. It asks a much deeper question. Is the thing we're building actually any good? For instance, we could be perfectly on schedule building a new website. But if this analysis shows that the page load time is 5 seconds instead of our 2-second target, we have a massive risk on our hands. This tool makes us look at the quality of the product itself. Next is reserve analysis. Think of your contingency fund as your project's financial safety net. This analysis constantly asks, is our safety net still big enough for the risks that are left? If we suddenly find out a key supplier is in trouble, a huge new risk, this tool forces the tough conversation. Do we have enough buffer to handle this, or do we need to ask for more? It's a totally pragmatic financial health check.
Now, this kind of analysis usually happens in structured meetings, but a proper risk review isn't just another status update. It's a diagnostic. It follows a clear agenda. Check our responses, find new risks, and grade our own process. This isn't bureaucracy. It's about creating a culture of proactive vigilance, a rhythm that keeps the project healthy. So the analysis is done. The meetings are over. So what? What are the actual tangible results? Well, the outputs of this process are all about driving action and making sure our records are accurate and up to date.
Think about it like a chain reaction. We start with analyzed work performance information, the story of how we're doing. If that story says we need to change course, it triggers formal change requests. Once those are approved, they lead to updates to the master blueprint, the project management plan, and all the detailed logs. And in the best companies, these lessons get captured as organizational process assets, so the whole company learns from this one project. That's how you scale insight.
Now, this is a really critical point for any leader. This process is not one-size-fits-all. The way you monitor risks has to adapt to your project's environment. And the two big ones we see are predictive, what a lot of people call waterfall, and adaptive, or agile. The fundamental difference in philosophy is this. Predictive projects try to manage risk by planning for everything up front. The whole goal is to control and constrain change. Agile, on the other hand, assumes you can't know everything up front. So it manages risk by embracing change, using short cycles to get fast feedback and tackle risks in real time in every single sprint.
So after that pretty deep dive, let's bring it all home. If you only remember one single thing about monitoring risks, what should it be? What's the core principle?
And we're right back where we started, because this says it all. Effective risk monitoring is the engine that turns data into intelligence and intelligence into smart, timely decisions. It's what turns that fog of uncertainty into a landscape of strategic choices. It is the unblinking eye that makes sure your project doesn't just blindly follow a plan, but actually navigates the real world to get where it needs to go.
So I'll leave you with a question to take back to your own work. What's that one risk, that one assumption you've made about a supplier, or a technology, or a stakeholder, that you've just been taking for granted? Go be the vigilant navigator. Go check your instruments. That simple act might just be the most valuable thing you do all week.